Hi, it's Tim and Amy from Go With Less, and we're back talking about our retirement journey. So we had a quick diversion yesterday to talk about some exciting news we had about a trip that we're planning this summer, and so please go watch that if you get a chance. So what we're going to talk about today, this is part 8 of our retirement story, and we're going to discuss our transition from our big life into our smaller life. And we started that discussion yesterday when we found minimalism, or not yesterday, the last time. During part 7 we discussed this transition to our smaller life as we found minimalism, Mr. Money Mustache, and other things. And so today we're going to talk about our, I guess probably the biggest chunk of reducing our life was making a transition from our giant house into where we are now. And so you want to go with that?
I would love to. Yeah. So where we left off, we had our house listed on Labor Day of 2014. So that was early September. We live just outside of Denver. The market here is like sizzling hot.
And was then.
Yes. It's
more
sizzling
than hot
then,
now, but it was sizzling then.
Sizzling. So we were hoping to sell our house within like a week. We were like right away. Well, we had a 6,000 square foot house. 4,000 of those square feet were on like a ranch. We had to walk up 16 steps to get to that ranch, and so a ranch is also a premium price because everything is under one big gigunda roof. And so what that meant is that the people who wanted a ranch house didn't want the steps, and the 16 steps was a deal breaker. So even though we had like 1 or 2 showings, many days in those 8 months, we had that house for 8 months. So we're going to talk a little bit about that time in between.
Yep, and so one of the things, as we were deciding to downsize, we owned this townhome that I talked about probably in part 1 or part 2, and so we had a tenant in the townhome, and so we were considering just buying a new place that was smaller. Our family was shrinking as the boys were moving out.
Like a fancier new place.
Yeah, that's right, just like a fancier new place.
Like
so
a nice place.
My old townhome was a little basic, and so
a lot basic.
Plenty of space, but it just was very basic. And so so we looked at townhomes, and like Amy said, the market was very hot, so great time to sell, not such a great time to buy. And so we couldn't find anything, and the whole time our house was on the market, we were continuing to look, and just nothing came across the table that made sense for us.
Nothing. So they weren't nice and new and fancy, and so it turns out,
okay.
Well, but because we were in such a hot market, like we were leaving our fabulous house and maybe getting a house that was like 2/3 the price of our big house, well, for like a half the size, and so it wasn't a good time to buy. So
right.
We thought really kind of, I didn't want to live in Tim's old townhouse. The reason when he says it was sort of basic, it was super duper basic. So we had a tenant in here for like 6 or 7 years.
Yep.
I don't think she ever cleaned the carpet. She was a wonderful tenant, but I don't think she ever cleaned the carpets.
Lots of polished brass.
Oh yeah, like shiny brass, really
Yeah.
dated. Everything was like very basic bathrooms, kitchen, flooring, color of the walls, the whole thing. Everything was like, and I realized I finally over months I came to the like understanding that I would give up anything to have my freedom. So if that meant that I didn't like the home where I lived, I was prepared to just suck it up and be like, well, at least I don't have to get up and go to work in the morning. I guess I can live like kind of anywhere as long as I have my freedom. So I was there.
And actually, I was going to say, I found a trick. So something that, not a trick, but I was trying to convince Amy that this was going to be something that we could be happy with moving back into the place. And so in our townhome complex, we found some places that I found some places that were for sale. And the nice thing about these places that were for sale is they had lots of pictures of the interior. And these people who were selling their properties had done some upgrades. And so we had an easy way to go see what potential the property actually had. We're not very visionary.
We're not that way. So it seems like every friend I have is like my family are like incredibly talented with this. We're talented with saving money. We're not talented with like seeing the big picture in a design situation.
Yep.
And so, but when Tim showed this to me, we didn't see anything live. We saw it all on like Zillow, but I got ideas of like, oh my goodness, this home could actually maybe look really nice. So, okay, so here we are. Our house is on the market forever. And I'd say, honey, I don't know how we're ever going to sell this house and while I'm working, move into a new house. You're traveling every Tuesday through Friday. The kids are here all weekend. Like, I have about an extra 15 minutes a night to do whatever I want with my life. And that isn't going to cut it for this giant 6,000 square foot house full of stuff. He's like, no worries, it'll all work out. We'll make sure that it works fine. I I knew this was going to fall to me, and to say that I was like having anxiety about it doesn't even come close. So I had massive like, oh my goodness, like I don't even know when we get this house sold what's going to happen. So finally in February of 2015, Tim said, you know what? Let's get you out of your job and you get us out of our house, because we knew that like once spring came, we just, our realtor was behind, like we're going to get this house sold. Even if we have to give it to someone, we're getting this house sold. We want out of this big house.
That's right. And probably about that same time we decided we're not going to find anything that we're going to be able to afford, that we're going to want to move into. So we are going to ask the tenant who had been in our property for 6 years. We had the same tenant in our property the entire time. Only one lease. She was here the whole entire time. So she was a great tenant. So we felt.
But we never raised her rent.
No.
In this hot market.
That's right.
We didn't raise her rent a penny in 6 or 7 years, because she also sent back her rent check a week early. We didn't even hear from her for over a year. So I think we both, we both knew, like, don't rock the boat. We all have a good thing going.
Yeah, she was on a month-to-month lease, and so we're going to have to send her notice, as our lease indicated. We were going to have to say, I think it was
90 days.
90 days we had to give her in terms of, here's your notice.
And I was afraid that we were going to like kick her out. She wasn't going to find any kind of rent.
It did not feel good.
Yeah, she wasn't going to find a situation that was at the same price at all.
That's exactly right. And so Amy, I think it was right about the time you gave your notice, so we got a letter in the mail from our tenant, and she said, I'm moving out.
I'm moving to a state that I've never been with no job. Yeah. So, I mean, good for her, good for us, but that wasn't something we were expecting. Like we were prepared to actually sleep at the Marriott for 3 months if our house had sold. So that was, so it turns out that I left my job April 1st. 2 weeks later, we were under contract and we were actually losing money. So buying real estate hasn't worked in our best interest. Nope. But anyway, it took us about 4 weeks. So whenever Tim was home, and every single waking minute I had, including all-nighters, some of them, we were packing out of this house every minute.
And we had spent the prior 4 months or more
staging our house.
Getting rid of stuff, continuing to downsize. So it was quite an exercise.
So we'd already gotten rid of a ton of stuff, but this was like taking care of like our kitchen stuff. We put stuff in storage. Like this was getting rid of all of our furniture because it wouldn't fit in our small space. So around Mother's Day in 2015, I was retired April 1st. It was mid-May. We were fully in our new home. We did a lot of work to it. We had beautiful new floors. We had new windows. We had custom blinds. We painted it with the help of a friend of ours. We selected colors to paint 9 different colors in our very small space. So we downsized from 6,000 square feet to roughly 1,800, and maybe like 600 of that is in an unfinished basement with our laundry and our pantry, and Tim has a little office storage. So 1,200 square feet is pretty much where we're living, which is a lot less. But it turns out, so we still have like a dated kitchen and bathroom. I have lived with that. We have the money to do it, but it would purely be for aesthetics.
The amazing thing is we love our new space.
We love our new space.
So,
and we use every inch of our new space. Right. Our old house, we mentioned there were rooms we didn't use for a year and a half. So anyway, so here we are. We're in our new house. Tim is still working. I am retired, and we're getting ready to hit fast forward on having us both be free. So please subscribe down below. We are really trying so hard to get to 100 subscriptions. So we're at 66, I think, right now. We would love to have you subscribe. Please, please, please. We would appreciate it so much. We'd love to get a thumbs up or thumbs down. Tell us what you're thinking about downsizing a home. Is that something that you're like, no way, Jose? We hope it's thumbs up. I'm like more thin-skinned than people would believe. But anyway, give us what you got. And if you could explain it with a thumbs down, I guess we'll take it. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great evening.